Well, hello, and welcome back. I'm AJ O'Neill. This is Beyond Code Live, and this is not what I wanted to have up right now. I wanted to have this other thing up. Hold on. See, doesn't this make such a nicer little? There we go. I finally found the place where PayPal hides their buttons. I'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, so we're going to be continuing working on the PayPal product plan, subscriptions, PayPal checkout stuff. I do have a little one here. I think he's going to be okay sleeping with me being loud, but we'll find out. And as always, brought to you by, but not actually brought to you by, Mountain Dew. Let's pop a top and open focus. Don't actually recommend doing it like that. Make sure to bend the tab back afterwards. You'll be good. Okay, so first off, a couple of things I left off with was I didn't know where to find the buttons because I want to be able to have this checkout with PayPal button. And I searched PayPal brand guide, which interestingly brought me to the button design guide, but it's only for login with PayPal. And I tried a couple of different search terms and just could not figure out where do they keep their checkout buttons. And as I was scrolling through here, at some point, I came across the word monogram. And there is no, it's funny because this whole page is, oh, here's a bunch of ways to use the button and don't use the button and blah, 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 blah. And there's no picture here of what this is actually about. But when I click that link is the link I just showed you, which has all of the PayPal checkout buttons. So figured that one out. Happy about it. By the way, I do have the chat and the comments open, both on YouTube and Twitch, and I guess Facebook by default. If you message any of them, your message shows up here, and then I will respond to you because I will see it here. So when I'm looking here, I'm looking for messages. So hello to those of you that have just joined in. I would love to know who you are, where you're from, and what brings you to the channel today, and how can I help you? If you have any questions, let me know. And if you'd like me to dive deeper or explain something, again, just let me know. I'm going to continue now with building. I'm going to close this out. I already saved this link. I'm going to continue now with building out a PayPal subscription. So let me get to the code that I do have. Let me close out a few windows first. I should have done this beforehand. But let's see. What's my to-do here? Some to-dos. So actual PayPal button. Huzzah. Found out how to do that. Subscription. I was wondering before, do the subscriptions fire off because I fire them off, or does PayPal fire them off when it's time for renewal every month, every year, etc.? It looks as though with PayPal, subscriptions are managed by PayPal, so PayPal will do the charge, and I think there's a webhook. I'm not 100% certain about that. Oh, I think I already did cry about this. Yeah, I did. That's been done. I did that last episode. Basically, just the wrapper, the Braintree auto-generated wrapper around the REST API for Node, and probably most other languages, is sad in that it's a lot of boilerplate, but the abstractions aren't actually useful. So I ended up just rather looking at the REST API and creating my own abstraction because it's a lot easier. The fewer layers of abstraction, generally, the better. Sometimes you want abstraction because it's really helpful. So let me get back to one of these that's a little smaller. So for example, here, what we really need to pass into the PayPal request is ID, name, description, type, blah, blah, blah. And let's see, do we have ID up here? Yeah, ID's up there. So ID doesn't actually need to go down here. So we get rid of that one. It's a lot easier just to know what the endpoint wants and to give it exactly what it wants than it is to have a layer of abstraction that changes the casing of things, so it's image, capital U URL or whatever. It's just a lot easier. There's not a lot of benefit in abstracting most of this over, other than maybe adding some warnings like what I'm adding here. It's really just a request. It's just we're doing a request. It's method post. It's at this URL. You put in your ID and secret, and you pass the body, and that's it. And then we have a little sanitize function, a little check that the response is 201, and then just return the body, not the headers and all that, for the way I created that. Anyway, so I've got my test case that I've been building out. Let me go down to the bottom here. And so I have this commented out currently because I took the hard-coded version, or not version. I took the hard-coded ID from a product that I've already created, and I used that to create a plan. Now I need to run this plan one again because I need to get its ID, and then we're going to create an actual subscription. So there's product. You have a product, which can be a service, a product or service. It's got a bunch of different categories it can go in, and then you have from product or service, you have then a plan for that product or service saying how often it will renew. And then from that plan, you have a subscription, which is the relationship between the customer and the plan. So what plan the customer's chosen, and potentially if they have a discount or something like that. So that's what I'm going to be looking at now. And let's see if I can, yeah, I've got my to-do right here. So I'm going to go find the PayPal API here. We're just going to copy this. Boop, ba-loop, ba-loop. Because this is the sample. No, this is for creating a plan. Whoops, excuse me. Let me close out some of these other windows too. We figured out the physical good. We figured out the products. I've got all this stuff documented either in comments in the code or pulled it over into the code. Yeah, we get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. So I think these two, are we on the same thing here? No, this is different. This is the basic guide, and this is the real stuff right here. These are the good docs. So I need to go to subscriptions, and we need to look at create subscription. And then capture authorized payment on subscription. I'm curious about what that is. Captures an authorized payment from the subscriber on the subscription. Not really sure what that's about. That's okay. I'm going to go to create subscription, which is what we really need. And I'm going to go to, yeah, subscriptions. So this is what we've got. I'm just going to copy and paste this. And I think this will have a customer's address in it as well. We'll see. Because technically subscriptions could be to physical goods that you send them monthly. Alrighty. So I'm just going to replace this little by little. So this is going to be some JSON that we're going to send. So probably... And then this is going to be a function that we're going to call. That's going to be the JSON. And then this is going to be one of the headers. And then the headers are going to be very much the same as they were in the previous bits. So I'll probably copy that over in just a second. So we're going to have auth, and we don't need the content type, because that's going to be implied by the fact that this is JSON. And then I'm just going to copy the other headers real quick from the previous one. So what was it? Yeah, well, I'll do this headers bit here. And then what this is going to be replaced with is request. So return, await, request. Whoops. And then we'll have method is post and URL is, and then I'll actually update this momentarily so that it uses the template. We'll have our headers here, and I need to go grab the auth. There we go. There's the auth bit. So I'm going to grab that and put that here alongside the rest of this. Probably just save this, let it auto format real quick. All right, and then I'm going to go grab URL, and we'll do the same thing with this URL that we've been doing with the other ones. And then update to use subscriptions rather than products, but otherwise is the same. Okay, so with that, and I suppose I could have made a helper function. And maybe I will do that. But I could have had... Now that I've done this 3 times, again, my general rule is that you need to do something 3 times to know how you're going to abstract it. If you're trying to abstract it without having done it 3 times, you probably are going to arrive at a suboptimal abstraction. But I could say that a PP request, a PayPal request, is, we're going to take a rec object here, and we're going to do return await request rec obj. But we could take, wait, where'd my header stuff go? Huh. It looks like I accidentally deleted the stuff that I had there for the headers. Or maybe I intentionally deleted it, but forgot I had it in my buffer. Let's go undo this real quick. Nope, looks like I never had it there. Okay. So let me go get that. Let headers equal. There we go. And we have if. There we go. Okay, so rec object dot ID. Then we'll have rec object dot ID. We'll go there. And then we could say that rec object dot URL is equal to, and then we could put in here, let's see. We could do like this. And so now we have a decent abstraction. Whoops. Rec object dot auth equals. Okay. So now we have a pretty simple but pretty useful abstraction. And I'm just going to put here pp rec or request. Make that an async function. And then we'll go down and see. Whoops, something is wrong there. Thank goodness this lets us know that. There we are. Had a comma where I should have had a semicolon. All right. So then this one could just become like this. Billing subscriptions. I can get rid of auth. I can get rid of the headers bit. And then here I can always call .then sanitize, and then here I would still call the body only. Okay, so that cuts down on a tiny bit of the boilerplate that I have to do with each of these functions, which is good. That is a tiny abstraction, but it's just the right amount of abstraction. Very easy to follow, very easy to understand what's going on. This perhaps deserves a comment because let me go ahead and copy this right here. There we are. And then I guess this doesn't need the slash there. In fact, it shouldn't have the slash there. Or should it? No, it should, because base URL will not have a slash. Yeah, that does not have a slash. Good. Okay. And then this probably should have an environment as well. Should probably have something like that here. But, whoops. Oh, darn. Hold on just one second. It looks like there might be something wrong with the stream. I want to make sure that we are, in fact, online in stream. Yes, we are. Okay, good. Had a little error message there, but now that's resolved. Okay. Fake error. All right. So I could go through here. I'll just do this real quick because it's not that big of a deal. I will get rid of that and we'll make this into a PayPal request. And then the URL could just be that. We don't need to put this in here. It's so little that it's almost not worth doing. But I think it's just barely worth doing because it does reduce a little bit of boilerplate. Now, and again, like I said, I try not to do this sort of thing until I've done something 3 times, or I'm really, really confident that it's going to have gains. Oh. Let's see. And do they have any headers here? Okay, and there's one other thing I need to do in pp request, which is I didn't actually assign the headers here. So rec object dot headers is equal to object dot assign rec obj dot headers. So we'll do it this way. Headers rec obj dot headers or nothing. Okay, now that looks right. In this case, does it actually need to do anything with headers? I don't think it does. That one doesn't need to do anything with headers anymore. This one still does. And I think this might be the prefer bit. We'll see. Might belong elsewhere. And then if I'm going to do a pp request, then I also do want to put my ID. Excuse me. All right, method URL headers. So I'll put the ID down with the headers. Okay. So now let's see, what are we doing? Just a regular request is going to be here. We've got our ID. That's the only place where we're doing that one. Okay, in this one, we do have the ID in there. Okay, So I'm going to move this up real quick. I almost want to put this right off the PayPal object and say this is paypal.request. And then replace pp request with paypal.request. I think that is actually all right. Cool. All right, that's good. Okay, so now I'm down to let's create the plan and let's create the subscription. So the plan ID, again, let's put in here example, which is really weird. In their, across their documentation, the examples that they're giving are quite different. So for example, this one is P hyphen blah, 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 blah. But in other places it's plan hyphen. So I'm not really clear. Their use of a request ID is, it's not clear to me. So, but this is going to be plan ID. Start time. Oh, good. They use ISO timestamps. Very nice. Oh, there's a quantity? I guess that makes sense. Let me go over here. Do they have quantity in PayPal subscriber flow subscriptions? This one looks much smaller. So they give the subscriber a name and an email address, application context, return URL. Oh, right, because this is going to be this. I think I should differentiate between something that's a create and a get URLs, because with the subscriptions, what you get back is a URL to approve. So I don't think we're going to need quantity necessarily. Quantity. And it's interesting that all of these values are strings. I guess that's an easy enough way to do it. And I wonder if the shipping amount is repeating. See subscriber application context. Let me check on little buddy here. He's just snug as a bug. His little hat was falling over his head. All right. So I think these are all the things. But for me personally, no, bless me again. I am not going to be using let's see. I'm going to go look at the docs because I want to see this shipping amount. What does shipping amount mean every time the subscription renews? The currency and amount for financial transaction. Okay. Shipping amount. Or I wonder if this is saying, Okay. The shipping charges, but is this per each? I mean, it must be per each. Yeah, because the product does not contain shipping. There's the payments API, the direct payments API I've also used. And that you specify the shipping amount with it. Okay, so subscriber. Interesting, they mix standard and non-standard names here. Ooh. Yeah, that's going to be a big one. Let's see. And, oh, interesting. Email address, shipping address. It's the same street. Okay, and then same thing here, application context. It's going to have there we go. And I guess I can move that out. Uh-oh, little buddy's stirring. Oh, okay, he's staying asleep. Oh, hello. Welcome to the channel. Feel free to tell me who you are and what brings you to the channel today. I'm AJ. What's your name? I'm working on this PayPal subscription stuff. I've already gone through kind of creating my own little abstraction because I found theirs is not very JavaScript. Anyway, this is what it ends up being right here. There's my PayPal request, and just check for I probably should rename this from ID to request ID. That would probably be more appropriate to check for that. But they have this little ID thing they got going on, and then of course just prefixing the URL with a base URL, setting headers, additional headers if there was this ID auth, and that's pretty much it. So very, very light. And then that way there's no abstraction on the actual REST API with the implementation I'm doing here. That way I can just look at the documentation directly and determine what it is. Not have any layers in between the data that I'm sending. Uh-oh, little buddy's waking up. Might have to cut things short. We'll see. Hold on just a second. See if he's anything I can get for him. Oh, he's good. He's just having a little bit of grunting in his sleep, I guess. Okay. So now I'm about to create the plan, which is the subscription, which is the real thing. I need to take all of this and copy it real quick. So we've got ID, plan ID, start time, quantity, shipping amount, subscriber, application context. Plan ID, start time, quantity, shipping amount, subscriber, application context. Right, that's it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 keys there, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 keys here plus the ID. And like I said, I think I'm going to change that to request ID. The documentation is not clear enough for me to really understand what a request ID is. It says it helps with idempotency of requests, identifying idempotency. Hey, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. It's in, I'd say hater gamer, but I don't know if that's the right pronunciation. Yes, good afternoon. What brings you to the channel today? Are you also a coder? Let's see. All right, so I'm going to copy this bit here. And the good news is we don't have to worry too much about, let's see, we're going to do subscription.create. And then we have to take the example values here and run with these. So the good news is I actually like that we don't have to create too much on the PayPal side. We are left mostly to our own devices. It kind of makes sense that you have to define a product and a plan, because if you're doing a one-off sale, I don't think it's required for you to create a product. But if you're not, if you're doing a subscription, it makes sense that they want to know, well, what is the subscription that you're, give a real, okay, subscriber, that's what it is. Give some additional information, because it's going to be charging again and again and again. So that does make a lot of sense to me. All right, here we go. Shipping amount, quantity. And I think I'm surprised I didn't see anything about discounts. I'm going to check and see, because I guess the discounts are different plans, because, for example, if you want to give somebody, say, your first 14 days is a free trial, and then the next 3 months is billed at such and such a rate, and then after that you're billed continually at such and such a rate. This is pretty common. And so the plan contains that information. We talked about this last time, that the plan contains the trial information, and then the pricing jumps. And I think that the plan also contains the tiers. And so I think when you create the subscription, you tell it what quantity, and I think it might be in the plan that it says if the quantity is this or greater, then it's gets this discount or that discount or something like that. And let's see, I don't need this. We're not actually going to do these currency code things right now. I can get out of that. I can get out of that. And okay, there's my fake user login. PayPal's sandbox accounts are really well done. I'm very pleased with them. It is essentially the same thing as PayPal, but just an alternate universe that doesn't actually do any of the charges. But they set you up with fake users, a fake account owner, a fake customer, fake credit card. Pretty much everything's there. They already have a balance, a substantial balance. The transactions can happen between you and the users. And I think that there's a reset sandbox environment button somewhere where it'll delete all the transactions, delete all the everything, delete all the products, and let you start over again. I'm not positive on that, but I think I saw it somewhere, which is really nice. Okay, and so then we would be doing an await on a subscription. Now the subscription actually has a wrong plan ID. So I suspect that this should give me an error. That's actually what I want to see. Okay, so here I am at the subscriptions URL, and for anybody who wants to follow along, here are the API docs for PayPal. This is what I'm looking at right now. And let me go down, revise plan. Do we have discounts here? Discount. Interesting. Because I know we can do discounts for individual purchases. I guess if we wanted to do a discount for a customer, we would create a special plan for them. Okay, billing cycle. This is in the what? Okay, application context. Oh, are we just looking at the glossary here? I think this is the glossary. Yeah, common object definitions. Let me look at billing cycle again. So there's the pricing scheme, the frequency. So frequency is every day, every month, every week, that sort of thing. Tenure type is regular or trial. So during the trial, they aren't actually billed anything. Yeah, a free trial does not require a pricing scheme. Yeah, total cycles. Okay, billing cycle override. I don't understand. I wonder if this can be part of the plan object. Okay. Huh. Let me search that one. Plan override. Huh, that's it? Interesting. So there's a plan override, which I'm assuming must belong to the subscriptions, but it's not actually referenced anywhere. I'm just going to do a quick Google search for that. Let's see. Plan override contains billing cycles. That makes sense. I don't know, a plan request. Plan request. Yeah. So maybe this common list of terms is actually in, let's see, you can't see the scroll bar. I miss the days when you actually had a scroll bar that was big enough to use. Now they have these little dots and you have to get over there and get it just right. And then it disappears. If I don't leave my mouse there, I don't get my scroll bar. So you have to scroll and then you don't have enough time to get over to the scroll thing before it disappears. This is just, it's ridiculous. There we go. Scroll back up to the top. So maybe some of the things that are in that, it's down here, common object definitions. I wonder, let's see, what is, do we have plan override here? Yeah, it's just showing up there. So I'm just gonna Google this real quick, just because I'm curious. I don't need to know it. But let's see, PayPal, checkout, API, plan override. Let's get this in quotes. I might find it on the Braintree documentation rather than the PayPal documentation. Okay, that it. Oops, excuse me. I burp a lot when I drink the Mountain Dews. It's good for focus, you know. All right, we'll try the Googles. Yeah, Google didn't find anything either. How interesting. How interesting that a search engine cannot find plan override. I'm going to search for Braintree just because... that's interesting. I'm going to go tweet at PayPal and see what happens there. Oh, interesting. Did that not go through? I had a prior tweet announcing that I was live coding right now, and it looks like I didn't hit send. Or I should say, it seems that I didn't hit send. I've been trying to eliminate like from my vocabulary. It's a very, very difficult thing to do. I've pretty much entirely eliminated, except in some cases where I'm talking really fast and speaking without thinking at all, just on autopilot. Then I'll still insert the Valley Girl like, but I want to eliminate it entirely. See if I can replace it in all situations. And it is very, very difficult. Let's see. So I'm just tweeting at PayPal right now. Hey, at PayPal, let's see, is it PayPal at PayPal support? Ask PayPal. Okay, so hey, at Ask PayPal. The API docs reference plan override in the common objects, what is it? Common object definitions? Common object definitions. But there's no reference to it anywhere else. I can't even find it on your docs with Google search. Does it apply to subscriptions? Or is it old / non-implemented cruft? And then let's see if I actually can. I don't know if I'm going to have enough words in this tweet left to put the URL. Looks like I can get rid of 5 characters. Okay. API docs, reference plan override, and comment, blah, blah, blah. There's no, but it's not referenced anywhere else. There we go. Can't even find it on your docs with a Google search. Okay, cool. And then I'm going to double check to make sure it should be Ask PayPal and not. Sometimes companies have, say, PayPal developers. Oh, yeah, they do. They have PayPal developers. So PayPal dev. That's what I should do. Hey, at PayPal dev. And it's got a blue check, so maybe it's official. Hard to say, you know. The blue check game is kind of a strange game. All right. Well, there we are. Okay. So yeah, it seems that must be whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't really need it. I'm just curious about it. I suspect that's where it belongs. And I am going to go back over here. And this is one of the things that is it's a little confusing. Well, I find their documentation individually it's good, but holistically the pieces don't quite fit together. So the SDKs are actually quite bad in that they're auto-generated and they don't make sense for the language that they're created for, because you could just as easily have I'm not going to go back over it right now, but their SDKs don't make sense, meaning the Node.js SDK doesn't fit with the language of Node.js. It doesn't fit with the idioms of Node.js. Okay, so here was the basic integration, and here was the subscriptions API, and they had, oh, here it is, fixed plan pricing, user seat pricing. Okay, so quantity 20, subscriber. Okay, so with the user seat pricing, I'm guessing if we go back up here, Did we? Aha, here we go. So here's how we create, what is this? Create a plan. So this is plans, and this is plans. So that's the response. Okay, so this is what it looks, this is what it, this is how it appears. This is how it looks. Yeah. As opposed to this is what it looks like. That's what I'm avoiding saying. This is how it looks when it's a fixed pricing plan with billing cycles, payment preferences, taxes, and then a user seat plan. Quantity supported true. I'd actually like to see the difference between these two more clearly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a plan seat.txt here and just paste that in, and then I'm going to create a plan fixed.txt because it's not highlighting the differences between the two. And I want to highlight what's actually different here. Because I would expect that if it's per seat, then I think they mentioned tiers in here. Let's see, where's the tier? Tier? Am I spelling that right? Somewhere it mentions tiers. Let me try over here. Tier? Yeah. Volume pricing model, tiered pricing model. Tiers, pricing tier object. Starting quantity, ending quantity, amount. Yeah, there it is. So that's how you do volume-based or seat-based, I guess. Let's just take a look at what this shows. Not very useful. Let's do -y. Still not very useful. Let's do, if I'm not mistaken, I created, there we go. I created an alias diffie that does the suppress common lines. Really? Something is not right between these two things. What is setup fee? This makes it look as though there are lots of differences between these two, but I don't think there are. These are the same. These are the same. These are the same. Tenure type. What? Something's really wrong here. Plan. Let me see if I can use merge tool. Merge tool. I think that's what it's called. OS X has this diffing tool built in. File merge. That's what it's called. File merge. So I'm going to check it out with file merge. What? No. No. Did they get rid of file merge? macOS file merge. So I heard my backup drive click, click, click when I tried to open up file merge. So I'm thinking file merge may have been removed. File merge cannot be opened because of a problem. Okay, so maybe I don't have Xcode installed. I guess we could try diff merge. It says copyright 2021, but it looks like copyright 1998. I don't know. Maybe I can just compare them visually. That's what I'll do. So let's say, or maybe VS Code would be a good one for this. I wonder how that will work out. Can I open up multiple instances of VS Code? I don't think I can. Oh, interesting. Okay, I see part of the problem. It did open up in my instance of VS Code over here. So for some reason, the white space is off on this whole entire thing. So let's see, did I just get it over by 2 or 1, 2, 3? I don't know if I went over by the right amount. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm bring it all the way there, and then I'm going to bring it all the way out. And then let me make sure this one is correct as well. Very odd that that happened. I wonder how. There we go. Now let's do the diff between them. And it's still... Let me check my alias here. Config fish config diffy. Suppress common lines. Yeah. So if I told it to suppress common lines, then why is it not suppressing the common lines? All right, let's do this. I'm going to do one better then. This is the smart way to go about looking at these two. So we're going to change these to JSON files. Plan fixed.json, plan seat.json, and then here we go. I'll just get rid of all of that because that doesn't matter. And then we'll save it and we'll let it format. And then we'll do the other one. And we'll save it and we'll let it format. Okay, now we should be able to get a very, very clear, simple view. What is different between these two? There we are. Okay, service type prepaid. That doesn't seem to make sense. Quantity supported true. It seems that just should have been a comment, not a print out the whole thing. Let me take a look at quant. Am I even in the right place? Oh, excuse me again. Quantity supported indicates whether you subscribe to this plan by providing a quantity. Great. So I should definitely support that in my little doodad. I guess.
Sorry.
Oh, that's already there. So quantity supported is already there. Okay. And then what was the other bit? Hey, sweetie. Be careful. Little bro is right here. Okay, service type. Service type. No mention of service type over here. Let me go back to plans real quick. Okay, service type. Okay, how about create plan? Service type. Service type. All right, I'm going to append my tweet. I also noticed that service type is referenced at service type. Addie, will you please turn that off? Please turn the fan off. Okay, basic integration. And then create a plan. Oh, okay. So this has type, but not service type. No, I don't think that's the right thing. Okay, I'm going to turn off that fan again. Adeline, please leave the fan alone. Leave the fan alone, please. Adeline, do you want to go to timeout? No. Then please leave the fan alone. Thank you. Okay, and I'm back. My seat's not all the way up. Okay, I've got a question for y'all. If you are listening in passively, here's the time to, and I'll get to that question in just a second, but here's the time to chime in. If you are tall or fat or both, do you know of a good, what is the gas cylinder for office chairs? I am willing to pay any price. I just want one that works. Over the past few years, I've bought various different gas cylinders, and they all go flat, or not flat, but they all significantly decrease in their ability to hold me up after about 6 months. And this one, I think I just bought this. I think within 3 months this one had gone bad, and I think I paid more for this one because I was trying to get a really good one. It seems that they just kind of all suck. So if you know of a good gas cylinder, you only have 14 years hyphen what? I'm not reading that message correctly. But anyway, if you know of a good gas cylinder for an office chair, I would love to know. Okay, so Wucha asks, exp with Socket.io and Canvas. So I'm guessing you're asking, do I have experience with Socket.io and Canvas? And my answer would be, I have experience with Socket.io. I don't recommend that you use it. I don't know why you would. You would probably be better served just to use WS on the node side and WebSocket on the front end side, because Flash isn't a thing anymore. And I mean, are you trying to support banks that are running Windows XP, or why would you be using Socket.io? That's my first question. If you are just thinking about WebSockets in general and you think you need a framework for WebSockets, you absolutely do not. Socket.io adds a lot of complexity and a lot of extra junk code on top of an API that's already really simple. I would say just check out WS for the node side and WebSocket on MDN, or maybe W3C, I don't know. It's a really simple API. You can't go wrong with just the regular one. It works, and it works in everything. You don't need any sort of abstraction layers. If you were creating exactly what Socket.io is, the demo is, which is these segmented chat rooms, maybe it could be useful. But I think you're better off just adding a property room to your messages and then sorting your clients in arrays and having the ones that are in the right rooms receive the right messages. And then, let's see, Canvas. The Canvas API I have not really used. I've used it very nominally. That's not even the right word. It's not nominally, but I've used it, but not extensively. And I don't know what agar is, so I'm just going to do a search on that real quick right now. It looks like it's a type of sugar. I'm sure. A jelly-like substance. Let's see, agar game. A smash hit game, agar.io. It's funny that when I put in agar game, the main website doesn't come up at all. But if I just put in agar, it was actually the second hit, but there's no images with it. So, yeah, this is, I don't know what this is. This doesn't, I don't see anything here that's canvassy, but I don't really, oh, dig. Is this, am I going to get a virus? Okay. So, what do they call these hyper casual games? Looks cool enough. Yeah. Yeah, so I haven't really done much with Canvas. I don't do that much on the front end. The stuff I do on the front end is mostly back-end stuff on the front end. I write the library code. And I haven't really done anything with games, so there's a tiny part of me. I created a text-based game that could be played over text messaging, or at least I started one. That was back when the Firefox phone was the thing, and it was really easy to write JavaScript for the Firefox phone. And I thought I was gonna make Werewolf, otherwise known as Murder, otherwise known as Mafia. So, which I don't recommend using Socket.io. So what I recommend you use is WS. So WS is just the WebSocket API with no funny business. So you just create a WebSocket server, and I've got an example of how to use it with Greenlock. Let's see if I can find it. Greenlock Express with WebSockets. Interesting that it seems that I should probably put this under examples. Here, I'll send this to you. This is how you get WebSockets. There we go. There. WebSockets plus HTTPS. So I don't know if you didn't hear when I said this before, why WS over Socket.io. WS is just the WebSocket. It doesn't use Flash. It doesn't use long polling. It doesn't support Windows XP or Internet Explorer on Windows XP. It's Socket.io has a lot of ceremony and a lot of abstractions, and it's a lot of code. Why would you? The better question would be, why would you want to use Socket.io? What is the argument for using Socket.io? If you have got a reason that you think Socket.io actually solves a problem for you, by all means use it. But I just don't know what that problem would be. Socket.io is this gigantic framework that has all sorts of stuff in it. But I don't, what do you need it for? If you need it, use it. If it's useful to you, use it. But I would just stick with plain old WebSockets and just use WebSockets, because WebSockets work well. And if you watch the channel I am very much against abstractions. One of the things that I was talking about earlier is just, here's my abstraction over PayPal. Okay? This is it. This is all I need. So I was I was using the PayPal SDK, and I was struggling through their documentation and trying to figure out how to do this and that. And then when I finally understood what it actually was doing, I thought, screw it. I'm not going to use their SDK. Their SDK has got too much abstraction that doesn't do enough. It doesn't do, well, not that it doesn't do enough, but it's not a useful abstraction. And so then, boom, this is my abstraction over the PayPal API. And then everything else is just normal request object stuff. So things like Socket.io, I don't like, because I don't get what the point of. The further you are from the technology, the more layers of things you have to understand, because you have to understand WebSockets, but then you have to understand Socket.io rooms, and you have to understand all of Socket.io's peculiarities and all of the way that it does things that's custom or special or unique. Whereas if you just understand WebSockets, then you've got one thing to understand, which is just WebSockets. And since you already have to understand WebSockets in order to effectively work with Socket.io, sure, you can throw together a demo with Socket.io without understanding WebSockets. But then when you have a problem, you're going to have to end up debugging WebSocket problems. And so why have so many layers in between you and what you're doing? To make a text chat, are you suggesting that you'd make a text chat using Socket.io? You could just do it with WebSockets. Does Socket.io really make it any easier? I'm using to make rooms and render canvas objects as a player. Your mouse and moves emit to all connected. Yeah, I mean, again, especially where you're doing something like that, where you're maybe doing a lot of events and you want it to be performant, that you might even want to look at. Oh, little brother's waking up here. You might even want to look at, gosh, I'm forgetting the name of it, but it's the peer-to-peer technology, WebRTC. So you might want to look at WebRTC for that if you want it to be, all right, if you want it to be really performant while it's sending to multiple clients. Because if you use sockets, then you have to go through the server every time, no matter what. If you use WebRTC, and it depends too, if you're dealing with thousands of players on a single board, then WebRTC might not scale to that use case. But if you're doing 10 players or less, you might do a much better job using WebRTC than using WebSockets, because then you're not round tripping through the server and people are getting the events in real time rather than with the additional delay. So, all depends on what you're trying to do. But Canvas has nothing to do with WebRTC or with WebSockets. I got to take little bro here out to mommy. So give me just a second. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna put up that one. Hey, little buddy. Are you getting hungry? Huh? No, I moved it. He moved it back. Okay, and I actually am going to go take a bio break, so I'll be back momentarily. Let's see. You got to use more than 3 or 4 words when you're talking to me. Give me a little more context there so I can better understand. Let me see. Before I go for that bio break, I'm going to take this down for just a second. Okay, so now we're not talking about PayPal right now for anybody that just joined in. I see a couple of people just joined in. We're talking about some gaming stuff because of the chat that's coming in. But I'm gonna go take a bio break real quick, and I'll be back within about 120 seconds. But before I do that, so more players again. Is it a bounded set or is it an unbounded set? And so what I mean by bounded set is that there's a specific realistic limit. And by unbounded set, I mean that there is no realistic limit. So for example, it could happen that 1 million people join the game, but it might not be fun for 1 million people to join the game. There might not be enough tiles on the board for 1 million people to occupy a tile each or whatever. So if it's a bounded set and it's relatively small, WebRTC might be good. If it is an unbounded set, then WebSockets might be better because you're dealing, well, I don't know. It's hard to say because the number of connections Yeah, the number of connections that each player has open to other players, I think you're going to have more problems with WebRTC as it scales out, say, above 10. Or I don't know, I'm not a WebRTC expert. Maybe it could handle 100, but I'm willing to bet that if you get above 10, it wouldn't be the right choice. If that's how many people are directly interacting with each other in real time, then I would suggest the Socket.io approach. But again, if you don't understand how arrays work and objects work, then taking a shortcut of using Socket.io rather than, sorry, did I say Socket.io either earlier? I mean, I recommend using WebSockets. But if you don't understand how arrays work and how objects work, I think taking the shortcut of using Socket.io, if you just need to build an MVP, I don't know, maybe if the documentation for Socket.io makes sense for you and you can get how to build a room without understanding arrays and objects, then if it gets you to the MVP, great, use it. But if you don't understand arrays and objects, then you've got another problem. And so I think if you understand arrays and objects, then then Socket.io doesn't give you any additional benefit. And then when you go to debug, if you understand arrays and objects, you just write your own arrays for the rooms and your own objects for the rooms. And then when you go to integrate it with your database or other services, you have direct access to that stuff. You don't have this layer of abstraction that you have to deal with and figure out. So, it's a catch-22 because a lot of things out there are made for developers that don't understand a lot of the basic principles of software. And you can create really valuable things without understanding the basics of software. That is a lot of what is really big right now in investing in tech, is if you can get people to be able to build things without understanding software design and without understanding basic things like arrays and objects and variables or whatever, if you can get people to be able to do things without understanding the basics, then you can make a lot of money, and there's a lot of investment in that. And so you can create valuable, cool things without understanding the basics of your software stack. But if you are developing something that is primarily software as its value, then I think that you are best served by taking a little more time to understand software development and software engineering and learn how to use arrays and objects and then create rooms by yourself rather than deferring to something like Socket.io where the shortcut that it gives you essentially amounts to a couple of lines of code that are really basic lines of code that you should essentially know how to do. Anyway, so feel free to respond to that. Even so, I see stuff past the history of what shows up here, so feel free to say more. I'll be right back in about 120 seconds. Okay, and I'm back. Looks like everybody's still here. There we go. Sometimes I leave that on my face. It's kind of funny. All right. And by the way, as y'all are coming and going, just if you find that some of the things I say are useful or help you or whatever, give it a thumbs up. If you find that I'm full of crap, give it a thumbs down, because every thumb helps. But if you like what you like, you get more of what you like. And if you do decide to subscribe, hit the bell and the personalized recommendations so that you get the good stuff. I do a couple of different topics on the channel. Mostly it's programming. But, if you are interested in some of the other things I do and it matches with the algorithms and all that, if you have the bell selected for personalized recommendations, I think in theory it should give you just the notifications when I'm streaming something that you have shown interest in. So, but I generally am streaming every day. Code, at least. And then occasionally I do electronics or something else. So anyway, if there's no more questions on the game stuff and the socket.io and WebSockets, then I'm gonna continue here with the main thing that I am trying to do, which is get a subscription set up in PayPal. And I think I'm at the point where this is my little test function, right? Yeah. So I think I'm at the point where I want to log out what the plan is that I'm creating, because I'm going to use it when I create a subscription. Let's see. And the subscription is the relationship between the customer and the plan. So a subscription plan in the PayPal API is short for subscription plan. Or billing plan. I guess it's actually billing plan. And then a billing subscription is specifically the customer has chosen a plan. That is a subscription. So you subscribe a customer. And then, yeah, we're going to have some of this stuff is cool enough. So user action. Most of the stuff that's in all caps in the PayPal API, not all of it, but most of the things that are in all caps are actually enums, meaning that it's a small list of things that you can choose from that are enumerated in the API. In some cases, it's a large list of things you can choose from, such as category of payment. But anyway, subscription. I expect that this is going to give back an error because the example that I have here is selecting a plan that doesn't exist. This is the plan from their documentation. So I'm going to run this right now. Hopefully we don't have any syntax errors. To.json is not a function. Let me go fix that real quick. So there should be sanitize right there. And we don't need the extra one here anymore because now sanitize is being done on all requests. And sanitize, it looks like, it seems that, I'm trying to get rid of like from my vocabulary in all instances. It seems that the request is already being sanitized more or less. I think there is, I should do this as well. I should do response dot, I should do response dot request, I think, rest dot request. Yeah. Rest.request. There we go. That looks right. So this is just a little catch-all to say if there's anything that looks, it seems to be a secret, appears to be. If there's anything that appears to be a secret, then it will wipe it out and replace it with redacted. And so that's something you want to have in your APIs and your request objects so that you're not leaking out keys and stuff. Okay, cool. So first thing we got here, we've got product ID, plan, blah, blah, blah. Bad response, 403. 403 is forbidden. Okay, why would it be forbidden? That's typically... Let me think about that for a second. I don't see ID in this. I would expect to see ID. Socket.io is able to fall back to technologies other than WebSockets when the client doesn't support it. There is no fallback advantage. Name one client that doesn't support WebSockets. Now, if this were 2011, then I could say, yeah, maybe that's useful. But browsers don't support Flash anymore. So not only is Flash not a fallback, it's not even available at all. And as far as long polling goes, again, you're saving yourself 5-10 lines of code on the server side. So, but why would you long poll? What client doesn't support WebSockets? Again, if it was 2011, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that's about when Socket.io came out. Let's go take a look at its commit history. It's probably a bajillion long. But let's go look. 1,000 commits. Let's go down here, page to older. Oh, bother. It doesn't have a paging mechanism. Do we have a way to go back? Tags. Let's see if we can go to the earliest tag. Let's assume... Oh, yeah, here we go. View all tags. Oh, no. Now we're in the same problem. But yeah, this gives us a pretty good estimate at least. So let's do after 0.8. Oh, that didn't work. 0.8.0. There we go. 2011. Oh, 2010. Okay, so it actually came out in 2010. Is my palm red because of typing? I don't think my palms are red. But, there's color correction and stuff in the camera, but... so... Is your palm red because of typing? Rasputin Rock. So I have a fairly simple desk. And I don't have a palm rest. It's an IKEA desk that I have, but I have it height adjusted so that my hands are almost straight from my armrests on my chair. It's about an inch down. So it's not several inches down. When I crank the desk, I can crank it up or down. Found this info on the internet. What info have you not found on the internet? I was reading an old book from the 1800s in the library. No, but so you're saying you found this info on the internet about advantages of Socket.io. Check the dates on those articles, because likely they're either from around the time of 2011, or that info is garbage info. Remember, the amount of crap on the internet versus useful information is it's probably 99% crap and 1% useful information. But the 1% useful information isn't what rises to the top. What rises to the top is what is backed by companies that invest in SEO so that they can rise to the top and know the strategies to link and to post on Reddit. And, oh gosh, don't even get me started on Reddit. Oh, those people are such dupes. Not the people that are on Reddit specifically. I said that wrong. People in general are easily duped. And I know people that post on Reddit with marketing messages that do it in a specific way, and they use a different account from their own account so that they can post their product, and they write things in such a way that it resonates with people, and it's all psychologically engineered. And then people will upvote things on Reddit, and just because it's written for them to match their ecosystem, so that, yeah. And then somebody else comes along who's a doof like me, and I just post something on Reddit that's, hey, I found this thing and I think it's cool, or I made this thing and I think it's cool, and then people, it's self promotion, blah 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 blah. And I'm thinking, you have no idea how many of the articles that hit the top spot are self-promotion that are done through marketing agencies that, are designed in a specific way to hit the tops. Anyway, point being, most of the content on the internet is garbage. And it is very difficult to discern between the garbage and the not garbage, because most of what you're going to encounter is content that is made by companies that specialize in getting content to show up. So even the platforms, Medium and platforms that are similar, you have to post stuff on Medium and on GitHub, etc., because that's what search engines optimize, because they optimize by the domain as well as the content. So the domain itself carries weight. So just posting on Medium, you're more likely to get something out there, even if the content's not very good. There's all these strategies to get content to rise to the top, and companies that are interested in promoting their brand are really good at getting that stuff out there. And so you'll find also content writers that aren't even developers. They just take stuff that other people have done and then they paste it. And you can tell this usually because it'll have smart quotes instead of straight quotes, because they've pasted it into Word and then they've workshopped it and then they've pasted it again into the content site. Blah. Is it okay to use Socket.io? Sorry, I went on that tangent for too long. Sure. If you already use Socket.io, yeah. It's not that there's anything wrong with using Socket.io. The question is, why would you use it in the first place? So if I were to say, hey, I'm going to mow my lawn and I'm going to use the King Mower 15,000, you might ask, well, why not use the $20 mower that's easy to use, easy to service, low cost, low maintenance, low upkeep? Why not use the mower from Home Depot that's the push mower when your lawn is, a small little lawn? Well, you don't need the King Master 5000 that's a $15,000 lawnmower. And in the case of Socket.io, you're certainly not getting any performance benefits over using Socket.io because you're adding abstractions. And anytime you add abstractions, you're losing some small amount of performance. So I don't think it'll matter in your case. In fact, often framework implementations are more efficient than naive implementations. Naive implementation meaning the implementation that the largest group of people would move towards, given a situation. So it's not that there's anything wrong with Socket.io. It's just I personally am frustrated with how few people learn the basics of what it is they're building and jump up to these extremely advanced, higher level things that don't actually provide value. Does Socket.io provide you any value in the thing that you're making? Or would you do just as well or better to use WebSockets? But again, if it's working for you and you're getting things done that you need to get done, then just keep doing what you're doing. At the end of the day, you want to create a product that people love and that makes you enough money that you can continue to make more products that people love. So that's the main thing. All right, let me see. Where did this console.log come from? I did something wrong somewhere, but I'm not clear on what it was that I did. PayPal.request. What did I do? So there's headers. I put that in here. Where's that console.log coming from? It must be that one. Which is what? Is this? This is the one that has headers. So I probably did something wrong with my headers. I'm going to go check that real quick. So this was plan request. Okay. Let me go look at rec object.headers equals object.assign headers. Rec object.headers or empty object. Okay. I did something wrong. I don't know what I did wrong. Oh, it's this extra slash. There is an extra slash there. Okay. That's dollars to donuts. That's it. Let's see what we get now. Planned request. No, it still says something bad happened. What did I do wrong? Last time I just had a spelling mistake. Oh, I got a bad response. 200. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to... must 201 or 200. Let's do this. Or, no, not or, and. You're welcome. I hope that I'm not too grumpy. I know I'm too grumpy. I'm working on it, okay? I'm working on being less grumpy. But it's just frustrating because I feel powerless. There's an industry. Well, I think it's anytime you have expertise in an area and you're just also have the personality type that is less than angelic. It's frustrating when you see all the things that happen and all the dots that are connected and all the systems that are in place that you have no control over. And you know that things could be a lot better. But things, well, this is just biology in general. We don't tend towards perfect solutions or great solutions. We tend towards solutions that are better than the leading competitor. And so when you know, hey, things could be way better, way simpler, way more streamlined, way more efficient. And you see the ecosystems, it's frustrating because the ecosystems work on the laws of economics, not on the laws of programming. Okay, I need to change must 201 or 200. Must 201 or 200. That seems right. Let's try that. Okay, so now I want to go see what happened here. So plan, interesting. So I did get back a P3WM. Is that what I requested? I'd have to check and see. P3WM72. Let me run this again. And let's see, did we get back a P... I think this might be idempotent, as it were. What is usage type licensed? That's another thing. I didn't see that before. I remember wondering that. Usage type. usage type. I don't see that in the common object definitions. I do wish they had a usage type, a dictionary of what all these things mean, because that's coming back. So it must be something we could set or use. Maybe it's internal, just for PayPal's internal use of their own product. No one could fault them for that. But I don't see any documentation for it. I'm going to tweet them this as well. Okay, so this looks good. I'm pretty sure we're seeing the same thing over and over again. I'm going to run this one more time and see if it still shows up again as the same thing. Okay, still showing up as the same thing. Great. Okay, so idempotent requests. Huzzah. Huzzah for idempotent requests. So, yeah, I guess the purpose of this is you can run your tests over and over again and get the same thing over and over again. Okay. Oh, wait. I did want to see also, this last one should have an error. Subscribe. Invalid request. Good. Subscribe. Okay. Excellent. That's what I was expecting. Subscription. Because I intentionally gave this a bad ID so that I could make sure. I must have done that must 201 wrong. If not, 200 201 dot includes status code. That's a bad response, right? Subscription dot create. And, oh, I don't have it here. So then must 201 or 200. There we go. Let's try that and then see. We should get back an error this time. Yay! Good. We get back an error this time. That is the expected response. All right. So I'm going to go and get rid of this. We don't need that anymore. Let's see. I don't know why I had that. Oh, I just had that out there so that I could log it to see what was going wrong. I don't think I need that anymore. Okay, I've got that in my operating system paste buffer. So let's get rid of this. And let's just go ahead and do that. And then I still have this in my operating system paste buffer. Great. Now I'm going to go to blah, 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 blah. The plan. I'm going to change the plan ID. Plan ID is going to be, well, actually, this is what I can do for the plan ID. I can say plan.id, right? Yeah. Plan.id. Start time. Seems that that should be maybe in the future or recent past. Let's see what it says here. Start time. So I think this should be, I wonder if this will give me an error because it's too old. I'm going to check it out. we're going to take out quantity because I don't think that I actually allow for quantity. We're going to take out shipping amount because we don't actually have any shipping amount. Okay, so what will happen, I guess we'll have to update the subscription with that customer if their address changes. And they could stay on the same plan because the tiers are defined in the quantity level. Interesting. Okay. So, and we don't actually need a shipping address because we're not going to be shipping them anything. This is going to be James Doe. We need someone other than John because both the example business and the example customer are both John Doe, which, that's confusing. Okay. Yeah, and I guess we would need to change his name here in the comment just in case. Where else do we have John? Okay. And then, do we have return URL anywhere else here? Return URL. Now, my question would be, do we capture the subscription? We activate subscription. Because we create the subscription is approved. And I think, let me go back to the integration here. The basic integration. So create a plan, create a subscription. Okay. Create the subscription. Use the REST API. Yep. Billing subscriptions. We create it. We'll get the created. And then we'll get the link that will have, so BA, a billing account, something. Auto debit. Subscription. So we already created the subscription. Direct card flow. Ah. Okay, I might actually use this. The direct card flow. Because so I'm using a payment processor gateway solution. The one that I think I'm ultimately going to go with. I just had a call with them on the phone today. Even though I'm a small guy, they're still open to talking to companies of all sizes. Even though they've dealt with actually some quite large companies, they are dealing with even the little $5 a month guys per customer, low ticket guys. Anyway, and gals, whatever. In order to go through the process with them, I will need to have a secure payment page. And so I could build that out with PayPal to start and have it actually work and then switch it over. Because I don't want the credit cards to go through PayPal. You lose additional money, and then PayPal is your processor, and then you're subject to all of their freezes and holdings and all that stuff, which is problematic. Remember, if it takes very little effort on your end to sign up with the payment services provider, which also, I don't know what is a non-technical term for the companies you use for payments. Because Payment processor is an actual technical term that means something. And that is not what PayPal is for you. Or it could be, but you wouldn't know. That's all internal to them. Payment gateway is a specific term, mostly referring to the software that connects to a payment processor. Payment service provider is a specific term that refers to when you get a merchant account through, I think it's through an ISO. That's called a payment service provider. So all of these terms that are related to payment services, all the ones that are intuitive, at least to me, they all have a specific technical meaning. And when people throw them around, they're often using them incorrectly. So anyway, the less time and effort it takes for you and less verification and validation it takes for you to get signed up with any service that manages or handles or processes or whatever payments, the higher risk it is to you, because they are, you haven't been vetted by them. So if anything tickles an algorithm wrong, your account gets frozen. And you can talk to people that use PayPal for all sorts of things. You hear about it. Anybody that's used PayPal for a conference, I think, has had their funds frozen because it creates a huge uptick, a sudden uptick. Say the day before the conference, for example, is when the most people are going to purchase. And so it goes from you all year long, the entire time you have your PayPal account, you've got nothing. And then during a month, you start to get a trickle, and then you get a big uptick. And then your accounts get frozen because it looks like fraud. Anyway, let's go back through here. So I was looking to see specifically, I was looking for a specific thing. What was it? Return URL? No, that wasn't it. I don't remember what I was looking for now. Oh, I was looking to see if there's a capture phase after the create. That's the direct card flow. And it says go live. All right, because here we have an activate subscription. I guess if you suspend a subscription, then you activate it. Do we have in our response whether or not the subscription is active? It seems that we should. Status active. Okay. But is this... But how could... No, that doesn't make sense. So the status is active, but it should be pending. It should be pending approval, because it can't be active because they haven't clicked the... capture? No, there's the... Hold on. I'm looking at something wrong here. Subscriptions. Post. Interesting that they would put -K there. -K turns off security, but the Sandbox account does have... Do they have that same thing here? No, I don't know what happened there. Interesting that they would put the -K there. You typically use -K if you have an example server that doesn't have SSL, but those mostly don't exist anymore because of Let's Encrypt. Anyway. So I'm missing some piece of information here. What am I missing? Because we should have an approve. Okay, right here, what is this? Billing subscriptions. What section are we in? Use the subscriptions API. We're in the section Use the subscriptions API, and we have the approve link, status approval pending. Oh, I see why here. So it's active if it's direct pay. Otherwise, it needs the approve. All right, I'm clear. I'm clear on what was going on there. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is good. All right, plan, create, blah, blah, blah. There we go. Okay. So okay, details. Okay. Let's see. Headers. Oh, PayPal request ID. That's definitely wrong. What in the world happened here? PayPal. PayPal request ID. Okay. What's happened here? Oh, oops. There we go. That was my problem. I forgot to put the brackets around. So that's okay. So it's still not valid. Start time. Must be a future date and time. Okay. So what would we do for this? So start time must be in the future. So date dot start time is going to be equal to, I wonder what happens if we just omit it. Let's see if that is required or optional. Start time is a string. It looks like it's optional. So it looks as though it seems to be, it appears to be. It appears to be optional. So I'm just going to put that must be in the future. Let's get rid of it. It's optional. We'll get rid of it. Okay, brand name probably shouldn't be Walmart. Probably should be Root. Set provided address. No shipping. No address. Get from file. Get from file, no shipping. Oops. So we're going to do no shipping, user action. So we're going to have subscription.actions. Continue. I don't know what the subscription actions can be. Yeah, let's see what the other possible actions are here. Subscribe now. Continue. Or subscribe now. Okay. And there we are. Okay, and I kind of want to take that get from file, yada yada. Let's take this here. Subscription dot shipping preferences. And we have get from file. Provided or selectable. Okay. Set provided address. User can't change it here. And then no shipping, of course, means no shipping. Duh. And then we can do no shipping on this one. Yeah. I don't like how long that is. That's terribly long. That's ugly, but whatevs. Locale, that's interesting. Okay. Payer selected. Huh. So that's kind of funny. The customer selected payment method on the merchant site. It says it's an enum, but it does not say what it is an enum of. Let's see if I can find it anywhere else. And then we have unrestricted. Huh. Subscription dot payment methods payer selections dot PayPal seems to be the only option. And the other one for this is unrestricted. So I'd call this subscription dot payee preferences. Okay. So I'm just gonna, let's see, copy this one, and then cut all 4 of these. And we'll go back up to the subscription mabobs. So subscription dot pair selections equals, and as far as I know, the only option is PayPal. Whereas this one, we do have 2 that we can choose from. We have immediate payment required, or we have unrestricted. Let's go ahead and add some commas here. It seems that they should be able to just add commas for you when you have a list of things. I think our tooling should be advanced enough to do that these days. Okay, and then return URLs. This is completely up to us. What's up?
Oh, you were still here.
Yeah, what's up?
You were so quiet that I thought.
No, I haven't been being quiet. I've been talking the whole time. Alrighty. And this is actually one thing that I would put in the piece that's the abstraction is, well, maybe not. But having a default return URL and cancel URL. Do. There needs to be a way in the database, my database, whatever I create or the merchant creates, there needs to be a way to have a pending or active state as well. Because we want to track that they got halfway through the process. So I don't know what these tokens are for. So you get back these tokens. Subscription save request. But I don't know how you can use them. I don't know if they're access tokens or what kind of tokens they are. But when the return comes, and let's see if it says anything about it here. Okay, here it does seem that it's showing the tokens. Option. What's this? Tokenize. I wonder if you can tokenize in the other one. I guess, yeah, it does tokenize anyway. Tokenization is something that needs to be that needs to be a product that you can purchase. As a software developer, you should be able to purchase a tokenization service for credit cards and know that it's secure as long as it's run in the given constraints. Was this the one? Subscriptions. I wonder if BA Braintree. No, I don't know what BA token stands for. Anyway, so when the user clicks the approve, okay, here it is. When they click approve, it's going to come back with a token and a payer ID. But I don't know what to do with that information. Again, it may just be for PayPal's own internal use. But I don't know how to associate it with anything. So I think the return URL, I generally like to keep front end on front end and back end on back end. But I think with a return URL, this is a case where we actually will need to have, let's say this one's localhost 3080. I think it actually will need to go to the API and have some information in it. But there's no way to, this is so frustrating. Because there's, as far as I know, there's no way to authenticate these redirects. And that's really frustrating. Because essentially what I'd want is see, we can't know the subscription ID until we don't get a lot of information back, and I don't know what to do with it. So what I want to know is how do I use the token? Do they have anything here about tokens? Identity, disputes, add tracking, API requests, API response, catalog products, identity, invoicing, orders. Can I get a specific, show subscription details? List transactions for a subscription? I don't think that's the right one. Can we list subscriptions? Capture. Well, I'll try this and I'll see what we get back. But I think what we're going to see, I guess this is going to have to be my token. I don't know. Equals ABC123. I'm going to have to do something on the server side to store that. I guess I'll have to store it in the database. And it'll be the pre-auth token, and then I'll either get a return or I'll cancel, and then I'll have to look up the ID of the subscription. But I don't, how do I get this? I get the subscription ID after it comes back, but I give them the return URL before it comes back. And I don't think... Yeah, that is a little confusing. They don't give much in the way of specifics as to how to use the token. So I'm going to search this again. PayPal token payer ID return URL. The ID of the payer that PayPal passes in the return URL. Payment ID. Let me see what I can find here. Okay. List payments. Token. I don't know. What year is this? 2018? So this might be right. Nobody answered that. Right now I use the token to look up in the database for the initiated order payment. How can I find out the payment ID? Return URL is part of the response, but the remaining response has the ID in it. I don't think they do post though. It's a GET. Yeah, this is what we're saying. The ID in the response of payments is the payment ID when you execute. Okay. Find the payments ID by token. To sum things up, approval URL only includes token, does not include payment ID. In order for a merchant to associate the approval URL, their system receives a specific PayPal payment. The token that received must be correlated with the payment ID. Reopening as an enhancement request, I agree it should be made easier in the SDK to simply provide both token and payment ID as public properties when a PayPal payment is created. Okay. Yeah, what is the token used for? I'm going to ask this in there. Thought they had a support forum kind of thing. See, I see a lot of people asking about that, but I don't see anybody giving answers. Okay, I'm just going to run through this, see what I get. Okay. So this time, I think the subscription should go through. So we should have a little sandbox subscription here. Details. Invalid parameter syntax. The value of a field does not conform to the expected format. Okay. Well, let's see. There's a couple of reasons I could think. Could be because it has a port. Could be because it's HTTP rather than HTTPS, although I think that that's worked for me before in their sandbox API. I definitely would expect their production API not to allow that. It could be that it has a query parameter. So let's try a couple of different things here. First, let's just change the HTTP to HTTPS, and then we'll rerun and see what we get. Okay, that wasn't it. So we can get rid of that. And then let's get rid of the query param. And let's see if that works. Okay, let's get rid of the port number. Okay. Let's put, let's say localhost.com. Let's see if that does it. Okay, so that's what did it, huh? All right, well, whatever. I guess we'll just keep it example.com since localhost.com isn't a thing. And then I can maybe put my tokens back. All right, did it work? Yep, worked. Okay, so now we need to go check out what this flow looks like. Approve. Approve is what we need. So we have a BA token. And we have an ID. I kind of want to save this. I'm going to save this. So I'm going to take the body here. And I'm going to call this sub.txt and I'm going to save it. By the way, I see some more people have joined in. Hello. Welcome. I'm AJ O'Neill. Who are you? And what brings you to the channel today? Is there anything that I can potentially help you learn? Or that you'd like to see or know or have interest in? Are you a developer? I'll try not to be grumpy. I do bite sometimes. All right, so we've got status approval pending. That makes perfect sense. So let's go get approved. Things don't appear to be working at the moment. Please try again later. Oh, I think that might be I copied white space. Looking better? Okay, this is my demo user, personal, example.com. Yep, we'll go ahead and log in here. And then we're going to choose a way to pay. I thought I had a PayPal balance. $11. Renews until you cancel. Nice. Oh, test plan 1. $0. One-time setup fee of $11. Includes 10% tax. I'm just going to screenshot this here. That's funny that it said Walmart before. Wasn't even capitalized. Okay. PayPal wishes Walmart used them at checkout. All right. I think when I click continue, Oh, did I change it to be continue rather than subscribe now? Let me check that out, because I may have. Continue. Interesting. So user action, it should say subscribe now. It shouldn't say continue. Huh. Yeah, so this button should say subscribe now, if I'm not mistaken. That's okay. We'll do, okay, agree and subscribe. All right, and return. And let's see what we got as the result, and if we can make any sense out of any of this. Okay, there's what we got as the result, return. So I've got my own query parameter that I put in there. And then, oh good, they do give a subscription ID. Thank goodness. So I can correlate the customer. And then they have this BA token and the token. I don't know where there's any documentation for BA token. I think that BA token is a scoped token. That means I could use BA token, for example, to edit the subscription without actually having the client ID and client secret. So if I had a service that was allowed to do stuff with this, but didn't have access to my PayPal client ID and client secret, I think that's what the BA token allows me to do. Because I've seen it in URLs before. Let me see if I can get back to here where we have BA token. No BA token on this one. But if we go back to this one, we have BA token. Yeah. Bless me. I don't know what BA token stands for. What is BA token? Common object definitions. BA token. Nothing. Not there. Let's see. Okay. It's not okay. So PayPal developer sent me back a response. The term plan override does apply to subscriptions. I'm sorry the information was difficult to find. It wasn't difficult to find. It wasn't there. Period. It's not that it's difficult to find. It's that it literally wasn't there. It was in the response. It is not in the documentation. Is there a documentation page that states, is there a document, where's the documentation page that shows that? Okay, so they didn't answer the other one. All right, I'm gonna start a new conversation with at PayPal Dev. And then I'm going to do another one right now. So at PayPal Dev. Where is the documentation for BA token and token? Is it BA hyphen token? Is that what we get back? Is it BA underscore token? BA underscore token. For BA token and token. as given in the return URL for subscriptions and also for payments. Could you please direct me to the documentation as it relates to, I'm not sure what to or what I can use it for. Let's see. Here's what I'll do. I'll delete my tweet. I gotta be less grumpy. Okay, I'm gonna delete this tweet. I'll just change one thing. Thanks for the clarification. Period. Now paste. Where's the documentation page? Instead of that shows that for that. Because that shows that might sound a little challenging. And I don't mean to come across that way. Okay. I hate the vulgarity on the internet. Well, not the internet, in the tech space. Companies that use the F word in their marketing material. Just makes me angry. Mozilla and One Finance have both done that. I use the term en feu, which is still, you know, let's see. Oh, there's. Oh no. Oh, sorry. I got a message. I'm checking real quick. Okay, I'm done. I'm done with my little messages now, and I'm back over to figuring this out. Okay, and maybe the reason. So I was searching here for BA token, not BA underscore token. Let's see. Nope, not mentioned there. Let's see here. BA underscore token. It's only in the one place. I guess that's kind of a cross-reference. I don't know. Anyway, so we got the subscription ID, and that is good enough. But the question is, what are these tokens useful for? How can I use them to... I need a follow up on this question I was asking to PayPal. Let me see if I can get there. Let's see. How can I authenticate? Let's see. Return URL requests. Is there a way for, is there an endpoint to validate the token parameter? Both BA token and subscription ID are public to the user in the approval flow process. Only token appears to be secret. Only token appears to be unique to the valid response, but I can't find docs. Yeah, there we go. Boom, 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 boom. All right. So I'm back over here again. So I guess what I can do is I can check the subscription status and see that it's gone active. I think that's what I'd have to do from this. So it's called create product. Now it's doing everything. And I do want the same, let's see, must 201. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what else I can really do with that. I might want to have subscription. I don't know, I guess subscription dot get. This is going to be one of those rare cases where I think I actually end up using redirects as part of the API. Because it's going to be easier to figure out this flow on the server side. I don't like using redirects as part of an API. I like the front end and the back end to be clean, but in this particular case, it is essentially an OAuth flow. It's got that leggedness to it. Okay, I think what we'll do here is put in the ID. I think that's right. And there's no body. I'll just do JSON true. Don't need the method because it's just a get. I guess I don't need the method on most of these because it's assumed to be post, unless if it's got a body, it's assumed to be post. If it doesn't have a body, it's assumed to be get. Anyway. What do we do? Module.exports.subscription equals subscription. Product equals product. Plan is equal to plan. And what? Request is equal to request. Is there anything else? Oh, I guess PayPal.init. Yeah. So what if we did this? Let PayPal equals module.exports. And then we'd have the init. Well, I don't know whether I really want to do that, actually. Reason being that I kind of want to keep these things local. Well, I guess I could just... What if I did this? Let it be. So we've got init and request. And I should move this test out to a test function. And I could have a create if I wanted multiple PayPal instances. I don't see a lot of usefulness in that, so I think the init is good enough. And let's alphabetize these. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to call this PayPal checkout.js. And then in my server, I don't know. I need to take a break, walk away from this for a bit. So I think in the next segment, I think I will actually have... I think I'll actually implement this first using the sandbox on the Bliss project, and then afterwards I think I can take it live. I'll do a payment. Okay, so intent, and I should have, I think it's authorize. What else? Authorize. Application context. So it's interesting that the application context here allows localhost. Huh. Let's see. PayPal dev. Again, at PayPal dev. It appears that... Let's see. is a valid return URL for, what is this? I'm going to make another message over here to the PayPal URL. What's it? Let's see, application context. Okay, it appears that this localhost blah 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 is a valid application context return URL for, and what is this? I need to go check out build request body. There we go. For orders, I need to go, let's see, API docs. I want to get away from subscriptions and go to orders. Return URL. Okay, what? Let me get back to the orders here. For, yeah, there we go. Whoops. But not for, and then what was the subscription URL? Don't bother. Let me see if I can grab it from, can I grab it from here? Okay. Yeah, it appears this is a valid blah, 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 blah for this, but not for that. Is that a bug? All right. Here we go. Oh, you know what? Instead of create for subscription, it should be request. I think that would be, well, create request. There we go. Okay. So I think everything's in place. I'm going to see if I can take, what was that, sub.txt? Let's see if I can run this PayPal checkout, and I'm going to console.log everything else, or console.log, comment out. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Let's see if we can do a check on this, and then that should succeed, and it should say, I guess in this case, it'll probably say approved. Oh, bother. Well, that's strange. What? Oh, right. There we go. All the way down here. And then I want to do subscription.get this. Let's s equals us. Alrighty. That looks good. And it gives me back active. Sweet. So I think that's all of the PayPal integration code. Obviously, there needs to be ways to update. There needs to be ways to edit, to delete. But this is what I need in order to do what I need to do in terms of start collecting money. Now, I also should put in some email stuff so that we get emails when we are about to collect money, or I guess when we just collected money. Make sure I can reach out and do some sort of onboarding experience, something like that. But I think that's it for now. Let's see. And I haven't done any whip commits on this stuff. I really ought to do that. All right, now my get ignore should definitely have star.env.star or .env.star. I don't need to look at those plan.json things anymore. They've served their purpose. I do want, let's see. I get all the prettier stuff in here, whatever. Huh, okay, those are all the same, I guess. Sure, add tooling config. That's all tooling config, yeah, okay. And then this is going to be let's see, a PayPal demo for PayPal checkout one-time purchase. PayPal checkout demo for one-time purchases and subscriptions. Okay, got the README in there, got the package locks, got the example, got the server, got the PayPal checkout. And then I guess I need mkdir lib and utils. And I'm going to move categories to utils, make categories.js. Path. So we're going to do this dir name plus .lib. Okay, mkdir lib. Did we do that already? Yeah, we did. So we're going to take categories.json and move that into lib. Do I want to just make that a install step? Scripts post install node utils make categories.js. That might work. QRSO LMNO P QR, yeah. Node utils make categories. Need to fix that apparently. All right, so lib categories doesn't need to be added. And then the to-do, I think the to-dos are all to-dones. And then the database schema. This is just thoughts to myself. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove categories and then run npm install. And I suspect that we should end up with lib categories again. And we do. And let's go ahead and change this package.json. Instead of saying Docker seed, it should now say node PayPal demo. And then we can change this to say, what do I put in the README? And then later on, I will get rid of this checkout SDK because there's very little that it actually does. And I will just use the thing that I already have instead. Okay. This looks good. Oh, and I need to add utils. Yeah. And I probably will want some more examples with the request response cycle. But this is good for now. This feature has some flows. Actually, before I commit this, nope, that's me. One-time payments, subscriptions, recurring subscriptions. There we go. And then, yeah. I'm going to say, what have we got? What's in the commit history here? Initial commit. Yeah. I guess this is a feature commit. Add code for one-time and recurring payments. I'm just going to push. All right. Well, so good news is, and I ought to add, let's see, I've got this up on Node. What was it called? PayPal demo. All right. I'm gonna put this in the recurring doobly-doo for this project. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and give you a link to these now that I've actually pushed code. That's irrelevant. Cool. Yeah, I think this is going to turn into a pretty neat project. I think what I'll do is I'll create the project to somehow or other. We're going to make it so that this project makes money for itself, and you can pay. I'll probably make the code paid code. That might be what I do. I might get rid of the open source license on it, or I guess I don't even need to get rid of the open source license, because you just I see lots of products do this where they just label need a business license ? And you get, I'll have to find one and take a look at it, but they keep the code open source, and they just give the options for the business license and the enterprise license and support. And maybe that's what I'll do with this project, is I'll have this project be open source. Maybe I'll give it a cool name and then trademark it or something. By the way, trademarks, you don't have to go through the trademark office to get a trademark. That would be a registered trademark, which is an R with a circle, whereas the small caps TM superscript is something that you get simply by doing trade with a mark. So if you declare something as a trademark, it signals the intent that you have started using it. Essentially, it's your start date. You can prevent someone from getting a registered trademark if you have been using TM, but you cannot persecute someone if you have a TM. You have to have circle R in order to persecute someone for using your trademark. So if you've been using a trademark for 5 years and someone else starts using your trademark, you can register your trademark and then you can persecute them. But you can save yourself that $300 until that point. Anyway, thumbs up if you got them, thumbs down if you don't. Remember, if you like what you like, you do get more of what you like. And if you want to subscribe, hit the bell for personalized recommendations so you get the good stuff. I'm going to wait a few more seconds to see if there's any other questions that come in, and then I am out. All right, then. Adios.